Hello, I'm Colin Hart, Director of the Christian Institute. This week I was sent my postal ballot paper and I'm about to post it off. I've had to think biblically about how as a Christian I should vote, and I know many Christians will be thinking the same way. Some will feel they have a clear choice, but for many of us it's a case of the least worst option. But some Christians may be tempted to think that voting isn't important at all. Perhaps you're tired of the main political parties and see little difference between them. Or perhaps you don't think that voting is a priority and you would rather concentrate on sharing the gospel. Well, sharing the gospel was certainly a priority for the Apostle Paul, yet the same Apostle Paul wrote to Timothy and told him that Christians must pray for those in government. The Apostle Paul taught us that Christians should care about how we and our neighbours are governed. How can we follow Paul's instruction to pray for those in government if we ignore our democratic opportunity to vote? So I believe that voting is a good thing to do. But who should we vote for? Well, first you need to know what the party policies are. No political party will perfectly reflect godly values, but that doesn't mean that we become cynical and ignore the election. In actual fact, on various moral issues, there are distinct differences between the various parties. Our handy election guide will tell you where the main parties stand on a range of moral issues. It doesn't cover every political party or every moral issue, but it includes the major parties and the core values of life, family, and religious liberty. It's a start and it's a help. You can get our briefing from our website or by telephoning our office. But you should bear in mind that individual candidates may not necessarily share all the beliefs of the party they represent. It may be that you have a candidate standing in your area who shares many of your ethical beliefs, even if he or she is standing for a party you would not naturally support. So find out what your individual candidates believe, because they may be worse or better than their party. And in some constituencies, candidates are standing for some of the smaller Christian parties. But it's okay to vote for a candidate who may not be a Christian. Remember that Jeremiah in the Old Testament told the exiles to seek the welfare of the city of Babylon, even though it was a pagan state. And the Persian ruler Cyrus was not a believer, yet he allowed exiles to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. He allowed religious liberty for God's people. And when Paul tells Timothy to pray for the government, he was writing at a time when the anti-Christian Roman Emperor Nero was in charge. So the Bible tells us to seek the welfare of the nation in which we live, even if our nation isn't godly. It tells us to pray for our government, even if the people in charge may not share our faith. And it reminds us that unbelieving governments can nonetheless defend our freedom and uphold godly laws. So in conclusion, I would ask you to join with me in praying that our new government will protect religious liberty and govern justly as God intended. And I would urge you to vote, because each of us should care about how we and our neighbours are governed.